Hi guys, this is Michelle with Reception Bytes. It is 1:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's getting late, but I am still wide awake, and so I figured that I would jump on here because Q started posting late last night. Last night being February 23rd. We're now into the early morning hours of February 24th. So I wanted to jump on here and just clean off those so that we're starting fresh. In case he posts some tomorrow. He, she, they, it. We're going to start, and this should be short, and I'll tell you why. It's dealing with the subject that a lot of people are being banned for. So I'm not going to go into a lot of depth, and I would ask, please do not say much in the comments about, what you personally think, because I'm telling you, it'll get my channel banned, and I just don't need that right now because I want to get myself set up somewhere where I am able to speak freely about the things I want to speak freely about. But apparently this isn't one subject that we can speak freely about because everyone is being banned, and it seems they all have the same thing in common. So I need to tread very, very carefully while still discussing these posts from Q, but I need to tread carefully. So please understand that, okay? And please respect the fact that if you leave comments like that, you are going to get me banned. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate you guys. I really do. And I just can't say enough good things about you. You leave so many positive comments, and I appreciate all you do. But this is just one situation where I'm asking that you would be very cautious about what you comment on. And I have had to delete a couple comments, and I apologize. But from the last video, there was a couple people, and their comments were right on. I agreed with them, but I had to delete them, and that's why. And I don't like this any more than you. I feel like I'm being muzzled, and indeed I am. And I feel like my right to free speech is being trod upon, and indeed it is. But for now, it's got to be that way. Hopefully in a couple weeks when I have more time, I'll get set up on a different, place where I can be, open and free. So anyway, let's start with these posts. The first post by Q is this picture of our lovely lady, Hillary Clinton, and this fine gentleman, his name is the Broward County Sheriff, Scott Israel, and he is a staunch Democratic supporter. And let's just go to this link here. And Q asks us, do you believe in coincidences? No, I don't. So, Broward County, and this is interesting, when Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel was accused of corruption, he responded, "Lions don't care about the opinions of sheep." Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel, the man whose agency failed to prevent the Parkland massacre despite having received a tip late November that Nicholas Cruz was plotting a mass shooting, has been accused of public corruption. No. 2 years ago, the Sun Sentinel reported that Israel was rewarding top political supporters by giving them and their family members cushy jobs doing public relations and community outreach for the Broward County Sheriff's Office. One such position, outreach manager, paid out a salary of $78,489. The person who got that job was the husband of Israel's campaign manager. Israel has been a Republican but ran for office as a Democrat. He was first elected sheriff in 2012, then re-elected in 2016, according to the Sun Sentinel. The outreach workers, who mainly attend community events, are in addition to political activists and other Israel-hired community affairs roles, writing and designing printed pieces about the agency and sharing it on social media. The The employee log shows 6 hired into community affairs roles, their salaries totaling $388,729. Israel's opponents say he built a publicly funded political machine, paying back supporters with jobs and using them to keep him in office. They say the money could be better spent, particularly after the sheriff complained about not having enough funding to secure the county courthouse, where a murder suspect recently escaped. So you can see why he and Hillary perhaps are close. Asked about the allegations, Israel responded, "What have I done differently than Don Shula or Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King, Gandhi?" He also said lions don't care about the opinions of sheep. That's a paraphrase of a quote from the Game of Thrones character, Tywin Lannister, a villainous public administrator known for promoting his family's interests ahead of the government or the people's. He said lions don't care about the opinions of sheep. That's, okay, sorry. I lost my place again. Were the employees hired to work at the sheriff's office competent? It certainly seems like a relevant question now that we know the authorities were forewarned about the dangers posed by Cruz. The office received at least 18 calls about Cruz disturbing behavior and possession of weapons from 2008 to 2017. BuzzFeed has obtained records related to those calls. The most recent one, made on November 30th, 2017, described Cruz as a school shooter in the making. Broward County referred the matter to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office but took no further action, even though a relative of Cruz had warned Broward County about Cruz's stash of weapons just 3 days before. The news followed the resignation of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School Resource Officer Scott Peterson, who refused to engage the killer while the rampage was underway. Israel suspended Peterson after watching video footage of the SRO's behavior, saying that it made him sick to my stomach. Given the appalling failures that took place at Israel's office, the sheep might like to ask the lion some questions. Perhaps he could answer them in a less condescending and authoritarian fashion. Yeah, I know that I would not want to be spoken that way and would not allow myself to be spoken to that way. So, but that's just me. So, Q posts this and a picture of those two looking rather cozy. And he asks, "Do you believe in coincidences?" My answer would be no. In this particular case, no, I don't. So let's move on. Then the next post, February 23rd, why school shootings? Well, I think that answers itself because school shooting gives the maximum emotional impact to people. People tend to be pretty protective and I don't know what word to use there, but people don't take their children's safety lightly, and nor should they. So, and Q asks, what is more precious than our children? Nothing. There's nothing more precious to a parent than their children. Nothing. There shouldn't be anyway. It's, and Q rightly says, emotional pull. That's exactly what it is. It's an emotional pull. And I know when I see children in distress and upset, scared, frightened, I mean, it pulls on me as a woman. I'm sure it pulls on men as well. Their fatherly instincts, it pulls on my motherly instinct. You want to protect them. You want to do whatever's within your power to keep them safe. And I think that's natural. That's a natural reaction. So Q is saying, what is more precious than our children? Well, nothing. It's emotional pull, maximum emotional impact. Distraction event. Well, obviously, this was a distraction event. We know what this was without me saying it and getting myself in trouble. We all know what this was. Gun grab event? Well, yeah, of course. D security, I would say that's Democrat security. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. If you have a better idea of what that could be, please comment. Why would locals go along with such a sick, organized event? Well, they've been bought and paid for, obviously, from the link that we just looked at. Their allegiance has been bought. So, yeah, They must control local police, school, county officials, etc. to work. So yeah, in order for this to work, they have to control the police, the school, the county officials, etc. to work. But it looks like, Israel here has got that all tied up, right? And then he asks why. And then he tells us all the dollar signs. Federal aid plus donations. These people are sick. And if we ever had any question about that, we know that to be true now. And he gives us a link here, which we are going to go out and take a look at. And then he says, follow the money. It's always about the money. Q. Now, I think we all know that it's always about the money. Because, as the Bible says, and I know that you are not all believers, and I respect that, but for those of you that are believers, Scripture says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And so many people misquote that, and they say money is the root of all evil. No, it's not. No, it's not. The love of money is the root of all evil. Because if you love money, you will do whatever you can to get it. But if you use money as it's intended, just a tool, it's a tool. The same money that buys milk can buy, some crack cocaine. Money's not evil. It's the love of money that's evil. So, let's go out and take a look at this while I'm still awake. Sandy Hook, 2 years later. Where's the aid going? I don't know. Let's take a look. At a meeting of the state Sandy Hook Advisory Commission, the mother of one of the 20 children killed 2 years ago said trying to get help has been at best confusing and at worst impossible for many families. It is absolutely disheartening after 23 months to hear of an impacted family with unmet needs. That is a tragedy and should not be happening, said Nelba Marquez Green, whose daughter Anna was killed. Many of the supports that were advertised, I have no idea where to get them or how to get them. In the end, our own private insurance company paid for our mental health counseling and continues to do so. So where is all this mental health money going? It's a good question. A current review has found that since the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, the federal government has given the town of Newton and several agencies just more than $17 million in aid that has been used primarily to enhance mental health services and school security. Most of the money has gone into a wide variety of mental health and security needs, many of which are designed to address the broader impact of the community for many years to come. Grants from the U.S. Department of Education totaling $6.4 million have been used to hire teachers, mental health practitioners, security guards, and other personnel for the school system. The town of Newton and the state received $2.5 million for police overtime costs through one of 3 departments of justice grants. Private organizations have received millions for therapy programs, administrative expenses, and even a public relations firm. The federal grants are in addition to the $28 million that was raised by more than 77 charities, meaning that $45 million in total has flowed into Sandy Hook in the last 2 years. About half of the charity money has yet to be spent. The state attorney general's office, in its final report of the Sandy Hook charities, concluded that about $15 million had been distributed, with the rest earmarked for memorials or future mental health needs in the district. So, Q has wanted, this is a link that Q provided. He wanted us to look at it. And there's a breakdown here of the money that came in and the grants and so forth. And the total is $8 million. 8 to 10. Yep. So much of the money from the school grants has gone directly into the Sandy Hook Elementary School, which reopened in a vacant school in Monroe. 2 assistant principals were hired for $128,000. 7 new substitute teachers were hired to assist the teaching staff. Security guards were added, and more nursing hours were added to handle the crush of visitors to that office. Records show that nearly a 20% increase in student visits to the nurse's office in the month after the school reopened compared to the month before the shooting. The funding started almost immediately after the December 14th shootings, when Adam Lanza walked into the Sandy Hook Elementary School and killed 26 people, including 20 first graders, before shooting himself. Funding is scheduled to continue until at least the middle of 2016. Where is the money going? And what are they saying here? I'm kind of wondering why Q is wanting us to look at this. I guess the story is that all this funding came in, and certainly it wasn't used for the individual victims. It was used for the community as a whole. And I'm really not sure, to tell you the truth, what Q is pointing out here, other than there was a whole lot of money going into the community. And maybe that's the point he's trying to make. He, she, them, it. So let's go back, because I don't think it's really serving anybody's purpose to read all that. And let's go up to the next post. Now, here's the next post. And Q says, who do you think is leaking the info? And there's been a lot of info leaks. A lot. Info that probably wasn't supposed to get out. And I think it's the white hats. I think it's Q and his team, maybe the NSA, maybe military intelligence. I think they're the ones leaking the information. I really do. Because obviously it's not the black hats, right? Because why would they want it leaked? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, that's what I think. Now, he says, take a wild guess. Well, my wild guess would be the NSA and military intelligence, anybody that is actually under control now and not part of the deep state operation. And I guess that would be the NSA and military intelligence are the only 2 organizations I know of that are totally clean, or so Q says. So I guess we're going to take Q's word and believe that. And so certainly wouldn't be the CIA, certainly wouldn't be the FBI. So that only leaves, a few other places. So it says, analyze shooter, pawn. And absolutely he was a pawn. And we know, so please don't comment below, because it's going to bring all sorts of unwanted attention. Here, his mother died. Then he went to live with that couple, and that man was in military intelligence. I'm not going to go too deeply into this because for obvious reasons. He heard voices in his head. Now, I believe that was the voice of God weapon, and you can Google that. I'm not going to get too deeply into that either. I think we have discussed that in previous videos. And Q assures us that we know. Q is telling us that he knows, the team knows, POTUS knows. So to me, that's a great, it's comforting to me. He says, we know. Take a wild guess. Analyze shooter, pawn. Voices in his head, we know. They know. We are taking action behind the scenes. Something else that's very comforting to me. CNN was set up. Stupid. Q. So, we can rest assured that whatever we're thinking about the shooting, that they know. They know. So, here, Q is referring to his own post here, and he's saying further, libel laws. Well, what is libel? Libel is a published false statement that is damaging to a person's reputation. A written defamation. It means to defame somebody by publishing a libel. So if you publish a false statement, knowing that it's false statement. Now, if you publish something false and you are really truly convinced that it's not false, that you're telling the truth, that's different. That's not libel. And, you know, when you find out the truth, you retract it and you offer an apology. Everybody makes mistakes. That's not against the law. But when you knowingly publish a false statement to damage somebody's reputation purposefully, that's libel. So if you say something damaging about somebody, but it's the truth, that's not libel because you're telling the truth. It is damaging to the person, but you're telling the truth. Or if you make an error and you really believe that was the truth because your sources told you that and you write that down, but it's false and it's proven to be false and you retract it and you apologize, that's not libel. But if you knowingly publish false information in order to damage somebody's reputation on purpose, that's libel and it is punishable. So that's exactly what the mainstream media has done, right? And so Q is saying, end of mainstream media, Q. Yeah. And that's encouraging because somebody needs to hold them responsible. They can't just keep writing whatever they want to, whether it's truth or not. They call us fake news? Are you kidding me? Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't even watch it. I can't watch it. I cannot watch CNN. Sometimes I watch Fox, but I just don't make a habit of getting my news from those sources because it's so hard to trust. So, now, next Q says security test, Q. Then the next post says no coincidences, expand your thinking. And then he does some more security tests. He says security test D3, Q. Return log run 15, Q. I don't know if that is what that is even saying, but I don't believe that that's meant for us. Could be, but I don't think so. And then he says communications off, 2, Q. So there was a security test here done. I don't know if he stopped communicating because it wasn't secure. I don't know. But that is all Q has to say. And I think the major takeaway from this is that, number one, mainstream media is going to be held accountable for libel. And number two, that they know. POTUS knows, Q knows, the team knows, they know what's happening with the shooting. So that is very, very comforting to me. And I had read somewhere where they were having, Trump was going to be investigating into it with them. I'm not sure now, actually. I don't want to quote what I read because I can't remember it. So anyway, that's all there is for tonight, and that's a very short video, I realize. And I could expand it. I could sing to you, or tell you some jokes, or I don't know, tell you a story, a bedtime story. I don't know, but I won't because it's now 2:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's time for, I think it's probably getting that time of night that I should turn in. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to turn into, but hey. So I will talk to you tomorrow if there are more Q posts, or Sunday if there are no Q posts tomorrow. So I hope you have a good night. You're probably fast asleep, depending on what your time zone is. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. I hope you wake up refreshed and ready to tackle the day. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.